It's the one line that people look at when they want to decide if they're going to be doing your app, or, you know, if they want to download your app, what's going to capture them immediately. Yeah, it's actually on the store. It's the very, very first line. This is the desktop version, so it doesn't always show it as well.
Okay.
But it's basically, if you look at right on the store listing on the phone, you can see,
I
it,
see.
the very first line that comes in, right?
About this app. Yep.
Which is, yep, about this app. One stop for fishing info, join Good Karma, sport fishing community, right? So that is what's going to grab people to say, let me download this. And then the rest of it goes from there. But when you're looking at it on a desktop, they don't have that one-liner. Why? I don't know. I just know that every single screen areas when you're building a store are different. So if you're viewing it on your device, if you're viewing it on a desktop, if you're viewing it on a tablet, I think they do that just to confuse us, but doesn't matter, and it does not diminish the importance of it, because the majority of the people are not going to be looking on a desktop to download your app. They're going to be looking at it on a device. So when you're creating this, you basically have 80 characters, spaces, apostrophes, etc., to download, to get people to say either they want to read more or they just want to hit the download right away. So that's why it's critical to put in what really captures you. Now, Melinda and I took some time to really craft this. We just threw something out to start with, and then, you know, I tweaked it a little bit, then she tweaked it, etc. And we took out some of the things that were obvious. For example, one of the words that we took out was about Captain Ryan. Because think about it. If people are just going to automatically download this because they're already working with Ryan, they don't need to know that he's Captain Ryan. And that's actually in the description right there, the long description. So if they want to make sure that this is his app, all they have to do is just click a little bit more and it stands out right there. It didn't need to be in those first few lines. If people are brand new to this and don't know who he is, they're not going to care that that's in the first 80 characters, right? So their listing is your one-stop shop for fishing info, join Good Karma sports fishing community. That really captures it. Would you agree? That it really says what they do. And the whole point of this one-liner is really to get down to what's your mission? What's your end goal? And in this case, like it should be with most apps, it's about building community. And when I read this, if I am a fishing person, I'm going to want to grab this. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Because like one stop, I don't have to go anywhere else. You know, Melinda and the captain has all the information there that I need.
Exactly.
Right. I like it a lot.
And here's a little other ninja trick. You might be looking at it going, why did she capitalize every letter? Right? Every word, not every letter. It's not all bold. Right. But why is every word capitalized? It's actually a psychological. We read better when we see it, every word capitalized. We read it faster. And when you're looking at your phone, it stands out more and it brings more attention to it. And you don't know that. You don't realize that when you're looking at it. So that's where in the one-liner, we don't do it in the whole, you know, you don't want to do it in the whole paragraph, right? Because that doesn't give any way to go through it. But if you'll notice, just as I was quickly scrolling, Good Karma stuck out, Captain Ryan stuck out, Good Karma sports fishing stuck out because they're capitalized. So whenever you're doing this, and that's actually a ninja trick, by the way, in a um, when you're looking at a reference in an email, when you put down what the topic is on your email, if you capitalize every letter, they'll read it faster and people will browse it quicker and it'll stand out. Not the whole thing capital, not bold. And I'm going to actually cite where I got that information from, which is a Google representative. So, yep.
Wow.
Yep. That didn't just come from some guy trying to sell me marketing. That came from a Google representative when they were doing a presentation. So, so who else wants to kind of talk about their one-liner? I can actually pull up a few other people here. Let's see here. Let me go over here. And for those of you who don't have your own Google now, Melinda did. This is something that's new. Some of your apps are actually on my Google. We can move it over to your own. We just have to create one. And the reason why you want to do that is because then when you do go to the listing, right here, it says that it's branding. It's been brought to you by Good Karma Sports Fishing. Okay. Where if you do it on, let's bring up these guys. So Tammy, this is something we got to talk to Julie about setting up. If you look at this one, not that I have a problem with this, but it says that it's brought to you by me. Okay. Not that I have a problem housing these. This is fine, no problem. But I think from a branding view, you want to be on Gordon J. Meyer. But looking at Gordon J. Meyer, let's come on over here to the store presence. Right here, we just have as certified public accountants. Tammy, I'm going to recommend that we craft this differently. Because like I said, some of these things are new from when we even first put the app out there. And the same thing with this, we may want to craft the full description to be more attractive for people to download it. The fact that, if I were looking for an app, yes, I know who Gordon J. Meyer is or not. Maybe I don't. Maybe I'm just looking for an accounting app. But I'm not going to know really what your app does. Is it just about you telling me that you're an accountant? Is it just for me to call you? Or is it going to give me information and answer frequently asked questions? You have to look at why other people outside of the area are going to want to download it. But, if I'm looking for Gordon J. Meyer, certified public accountant, then I'm going to say, yeah, this is them. But it's not giving me, even if I'm a client of yours, it's not giving me a reason to actually download it. In here it does, because it talks about the fact that you do personalized services, et cetera. But again, it doesn't talk enough about what the app itself does. So very easy to update. And it's actually not a bad thing to update it, because then it gets people who already have your app to refresh it on their phone, and it reminds them that you're there. So very, very simple for us to do this. And let's take a look at more for you right there. And let's see here. Let's go to the store presence. And again, for more for you on your store presence, we have it listed as, let me just go back here for a second and pull this up. Again, it's got my name. So I'm not going to go find it, but you can name it the Greater Brookfield Chamber, because that way you will have a branding for the chamber that this is coming from you, and it will also help in Google searches, so that if people are looking for Gordon J. Meyer or looking for the Brookfield Chamber, this will help pull it up. That's the other reason why it's really great that Google is letting you have your own accounts, and you don't have to actually be the developer anymore, which is really nice. Apple started that a number of years ago. I know Apple can be very frustrating, but once you have it, it's much easier. But again, with your one-liner, this doesn't really talk about what your app does. Because of that, your store presence here isn't really capturing. So we need to redo this. And Anna, if you need me to send this over to you as well, but it does capture it down here. You know, this incredible app lets you discover money-saving deals all over town. Whether you're looking for a place to dine, a place to shop, a place to stay for the night, all specials worth checking out are here. And it's really the combination of the power of everybody. Now, this can be actually 4,000 characters. So your descriptions can be as long or as short as you want. Just remember, the first 3 lines right here are the most critical. The first 250 characters outside of the one-liner are critical, because that's what's going to get people to either want to read more or just download it. And right now, with space being a premium on people's phones, although storage has really gotten up a lot, you want to make sure that people not only put it on the phone, but that they continue to use it and interact with it. And it's critical to do that. So, so that's the power of the one-liner, basically, and your store presence. I know we talk a lot about store presence here because it is very, very important, but it's still not the most important things to get people, or how you would download it. Yes, you want to be up in the store. Store presence helps with your search optimization, why it can be found, how it can be found, etc. Because Google is really specific on it. And that's where the keywords were really important when you're listing the presence. Let me see here. Where do I have that? Oh, Google does their keywords. I'm sorry. Google does their keywords within the description, where Apple actually has a spot where you can search by keywords. So it is definitely a little bit different. But keywords are critical to have in there to be able to log. You still need to drive traffic to your store listings. And that's where the one link and the QR code help out quite a bit. But you want to drive traffic there by other means. Social media, having it on your website. I saw Anna did a post, and I don't know if Anna, if you did it or somebody in the office did it, but it was a good post just talking about the app and download it, and then the why. You know, not only is it a benefit of membership, which is great, but it's about getting the community to understand that the Brookfield Chamber is more than just a spot for businesses to exchange leads. It really is. I could do a whole session on just how great the Brookfield Chamber is, but we're going to let that be. So, but seriously, it's about giving back to the community. So when you're doing this, you want to make sure that your posts are always referring and leading people to your listings. The more people who click on your listings, the more Google will drive you up. It is no different than your website. The more you have your keywords in there, the more you have your one-liners, you know, the items that are going to grab attention, and the more times that your link is seen out all over, Google is going to say, this is a business that needs to get attention, and will raise it up. So thoughts, comments? You want to comment on each other's one-liners? You got ideas of how you could help? I mean, you know, let's pick on more for you. What would attract you in a one-liner to say, I want to read more? Okay, Stacey, I'm going to pick on you.
All right, go ahead. Read first. You want to read more, you're saying?
What would get you to say, I want to click on that, I want to download that app, or I want to read more detail about it? So you're just a consumer in the area.
Oh, well, I downloaded it, so I can actually say I did. And I love your coupons. I probably would put that in there.
Okay.
You know, because everyone, I'll be honest, I want to save money just like everybody else does. So that was like the number one when Nancy's like, hey, they have coupons. And I go to a lot of stores in Brookfield. I live in Greenfield, but I was just like, oh my God, like it was just you guys, and it's cool because a lot of the businesses like do a lot, that they want to, you know, get their name known, with other people. That would probably be on there. Just like mentioning like some kind of like, savings, would you want to save, or how you can save by checking out this business or something like that.
Okay.
Yep.
Or monthly specials. I don't know. Maybe that would be
something like that. Right. And I know Tammy's having a little audio difficulty today, but what would jazz you guys to see on Tammy's, which is a CPA, that would make them stand out from other CPAs? Because I personally know that they do stand out, that their level of service really is heart-centered and community first. Okay. Their managing partner is outstanding at giving first, no question in my mind. She is always about community, always about, and not just community in our area. She's worldwide community giver. So what would draw you to say, I want to be different, I want to work with a different, or I want to download their app because of that?
I would think about like just getting some information, having an accountant is great and I give you all my stuff and you do it for me, but I kind of want to learn, through you,
Mm-hmm.
or how to ask certain questions, I guess, because my lingo or language, when it comes to little things, you would be like all the big words. Do you know what I'm saying? And you'd be like, so how do you and I communicate so that it's easy for me to understand, I guess would be the.
So basically translating it into English, understandable English.
Well, but also like what forms, like what each form mean, or like what do I all need to have my taxes done, or things I just make sure I don't forget when it's time to do my taxes, kind of thing.
And that is what's on their app. They have a calendar
of
when certain things are due. And yes, we were remiss. We did not change when they changed when taxes were due. But sorry, guys, that's over. So when they moved the tax date, we kind of missed that part. But there is frequently asked questions or things you need, and they break it down by category: payroll, taxes, accounting, I believe are the three. And so that's important, that exactly what you're saying. And they always give you the option to then call in to want more. They give enough. You can do your taxes yourself, obviously. It's an option. However, I wouldn't recommend it because you don't know what you don't know. And that is something that their app will give you the general idea, but it isn't going to give you all the meat and potatoes, because as Tammy just said, tax laws change all the time. So I always believe that you need to have the knowledge. It doesn't mean you have to do it or you have to be the expert. You have to have enough knowledge to understand your taxes, to understand what's needed for them, and to understand when they're doing your books and what does that mean. So, okay, our accountants are required to take training each year for updates. Oh yeah, because truly the tax laws are constantly changing. That right there is the lines you want to put in your description, that tax laws are constantly changing and your accountants are up to date, and we update our app with the changes. I mean, they don't have tax laws on there. They just have frequently asked questions. But
I'm loving that checklist. Be able to download a checklist.
Yep.
Old.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. And so that's really, when you're going to grab it, that's what you want to talk about, not just the fact that you're CPAs, because hey, there's all kinds of CPAs. What makes you guys different?